Of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
It'll be a different look for the Cardinals tonight here in Game 2 against Houston. Aaron Miles at third base. Alan Craig has been recalled. Nick Stavanoa is sent back down to the minor leagues. And the Astros, they've been playing the Cardinals very tough. You have to go back to mid-April, the last time that they lost at Busch Stadium to St. Louis. We're at Busch Stadium and over 43,000 expected tonight. The Astros at 46 and 59 take on the Cardinals at 59 and 47. With my partner Al Brabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. And you take a look at the Astros, they can play free and easy, and that's what they've done with some of their young players.
And right now they're playing great baseball. They've won 6 in a row, but look at the bottom of the Central. The Astros, the only team that's winning, as everybody else has either lost 6 straight, lost 5 straight, or 5 out of 6. Last night, Cardinals had a little bit of a lead, but defensively they just couldn't execute in the 8th and 9th inning. Everything was a little out of whack, and the Astros, through a very timely hitting, pulled the victory away.
Jaime Garcia will get the start this evening, the rookie hurler, in Game 2 against Houston. Baseball is coming up. Stadium, over 40,000 expected tonight. And Al, of course, a big reason why, the big three, Wainwright, Carpenter, and Garcia.
23-3 at home, and Jaime will be making the start here today. Look at that great ERA. This is really a trio here, but they are a little concerned about Garcia's innings pitch.
Hot afternoon turns into a hot night. We'll take a look at the plays of the month of July next. 273, second best on base percentage at 339, third overall, tied for third in wins with 15, and the ERA very respectable at 3.51. Let's take a look at the top plays of the month for the Cardinals from July. Pujols. Stand-up triple. Colby makes the catch. Got him. Sliding catch by John Jay. Go Cardinals! Out at second. He got hard. Green hits it out to deep left, and this ball is gone. Across the diamond, and the Cardinals win.
Sarah Ishmael, who is from the St. Louis area.
Sarah, I couldn't do this without you.
Pujols, Alan Craig, first home run. Schumacher, Randy Wynn off the bench, 4 home runs. John Jay, goodbye. John Jay delivers again.
A lot of fans of Adam Wainwright right now. Strike 3. What a day for Adam Wainwright.
Suppan with a base hit into right. Suppan has his first win of the season. Jaime Garcia, outstanding start. Carpenter cruising. Got a strikeout of Ryan Howard. Jaime Garcia helps his cause. Big first inning for the Redbirds. Cardinals win it. He got a Cardinals win it 7-1. The winning streak just keeps on rolling. How about 8 wins in a row? Will test John Jay. Molina blocks the plate and out. Runner goes, safe at second. 97 blew by him.
High and deep to right field. Got a chance. It's gone.
Pujols, base hit, comes through. The Cardinals lead it 8-7. Holiday rips it out to deep left. He made him pay. Dick Holiday's locked in. 4 for 4, 2 jacks.
Up the middle. The Cardinals have come back to tie this game at 4. He can't get it. Jay scores, and the Cardinals have come from behind to win it.
Ryan puts it in play. Roderick now can score. Misplayed at second, and the Cardinals win it.
These will be some of the best memories of my life, no doubt about it. You know, it's time to move on now and start a new chapter, and hopefully it's another good one.
Some of the top moments from the month of July. When we come back, it was a hit parade last night in the National League for 3 stars. We'll tell you what we mean when we come back. never know what you might see in baseball. And last night, we had 3 players that had 5-hit games. Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder. The Milwaukee Brewers walked all over the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Braun 5 for 7, Fielder 5 for 7. How about Matt Kemp? Perfect. 5 for 5, 3 ribbies, and a home run. So when was the last time that had happened? 3 players to have 5-hit games in the same day. And National League players at that. Well, you have to go back to, 44 years ago in our AT&T trivia question. Willie Stargell, Dennis Menke, and Tommy Davis. Menke, by the way, did it against St. Louis back on June 5th, 1966. Bill Finley and his crew trying to stay cool. Temperatures red hot here in St. Louis. Game 2 at the Stros coming up. Expert Auto Service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's Expert Auto Service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Red hot night here in St. Louis. Glad you're with us. Big crowd, over 40,000 expected tonight. Jason Bourgeois will lead things off. The center fielder tonight, who's batting .244. We saw him late in the action in Game 1. No home runs and 1 RBI. Game time temperature tonight at 95 degrees. 2 balls and no strikes.
Bourgeois 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter last night. He's recalled July 2nd.
3-0.
Jaime trying to win his 10th ball game. This is the first time he's ever faced the Astros. Of course, many times for the first time he faced half these guys.
Low strike, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. New look Astros that we talked about last night. Brett Wallace is not in the starting lineup tonight for Houston. 3-1 pitch. Jammed him. 3-2. Outfield is straight away for Bourgeois. It's left-handed pitching this year. He's hit .273.
Jaime really hasn't shown any ill effects or.
Popped up on the infield. Brendan Ryan wants it, and he's got it for the first out. So falling behind 3-0 doesn't affect Garcia as he gets the first out. Look at the lineup for Brad Mills tonight. Bourgeois and then Angel Sanchez, Hunter Pence, Carlos Lee, Jeff Keppinger, who has just killed the Cardinals this year, Pedro Feliz is at first. Chris Johnson, Jason Castro, and Bud Norris. Tell you what, Al, you have to give Brad Mills an awful lot of credit for keeping this together. Young players that have come together now. With 2 months to go in this regular season, they're playing very good baseball. They got off to a terrible start. Now you don't have Berkman. You don't have Oswalt. And yet they're playing very good.
Well, you got a young, talented ball club. They won 6 straight, but it's all starts with their pitching. And their pitching was outstanding in July and carried over last night.
Down the right field line and out of play. But they have played very well. Very good baseball and keeping it together. Remember how they started the season, too. Winless after the first 8 games. That's not the way you want to start your year.
And that's with a lot of veteran guys. But now you get a little more high energy as you get a group of youngsters trying to believe they belong here.
Strikeout for Jaime. His first tonight. Always the great moment on the pitches of Jaime Garcia.
He has 4 outstanding pitches. And when he keeps the ball down, he really does get some outstanding. You see the breaking ball and swinging over the top. But if he keeps the ball down, you know, he gets an awful lot of ground balls. He's 3rd in the National League in that department. And I taught you something last night, didn't I?
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Remember we talked about ground balls? They don't go.
They don't leave the park.
They don't leave the park.
I've heard you say that from day one to me. And I don't forget what you tell me, Mr. Rabowski.
And I was a fly ball pitcher, so I'm a late learner.
This is the 21st start of the year for Garcia. 116 2/3 innings as Pence loses the bat. It's 1-2. That lands on the outfield grass. Holiday, Rasmus, Allen Craig, who is just called up. Miles has started 3rd. Bryan and Schumacher, Pujols round out the infield. Garcia and Molina, the battery tonight. The strikeout that you just saw for Garcia was number 95 this year. So closing in on 100 strikeouts on the season. You mentioned the innings, and the Cardinals will keep an eye on that. Garcia, after this inning is complete, at 117. Carpenter at 156 2/3.
Well, Dan, the reason why you're concerned about Jaime and he got another strikeout is he's never thrown more than 160 innings.
Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. The packed house here tonight and a hot night for baseball. Look at the lineup for St. Louis. Miles will lead it off, the 3rd baseman. Then Colby Rasmus jumps up to the 2 spot. Albert Pujols, then Matt Holliday, Alan Craig, Skip Schumacher, Yadier Molina, Jaime Garcia, and Brendan Ryan. Bud Cy Norris, 3-7 this year.
How can you call a guy, link him to Cy Young with only 3 wins? Well, he's Cy Young when he faces the Cardinals. 2-1 this year. They finally beat him the last time, but 4-1 in his career. 1.60 ERA against St. Louis, and almost unhittable here at Busch Stadium. He has a 0.45 ERA at Busch. 3-0.
Well, I was talking with Aaron Miles before the game. I said, what is it with you and this Cardinal uniform and this experience, why you turn into a different player? As he grounds to short. Easy play, and Miles is retired. But one of the things he pointed to, and it was interesting, he said, this ballpark is conducive for me. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, I'm a guy, he said, that is a switch hitter. I need my swings. And in Chicago, they don't have a batting cage. He said, I'm just used to, if I need to improve my swing, I'll take 80 swings from the right side. And I can do that being a guy that's a spot player. He also said, most importantly, he said, Tony La Russa puts me in right matchups. He's been the best at ever for me in my career, putting me in the spots where I can have success. And he pointed to when he and Adam Kennedy were platooning here a couple years ago, and he said Kennedy was a guy that if there was a low ball pitcher, Kennedy with a little loop in his swing would be the guy that would get those starts. If it was a guy that threw hard and was up in the zone, Miles, who we've seen a lot, just slap the ball the other way, he was the guy that would get the start. So he looked at Tony La Russa, and what he's been able to do is really a guy that has helped his career immensely here in St. Louis.
Well, Tony looks at those batter-pitcher matchups, and if somebody's had good success, they're guaranteed to be in that lineup. Now, Miles has not ever hit off of Norris, and in my mind, he's in there for his defense tonight.
No question.
Last night was kind of, once again, we were reminded how poor the Cardinals have played defensively. And what we saw last night, you can't win a pennant with that type of defense. And Miles will be better at third tonight.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, and nobody on.
Speaking of third, some bad news for the Cardinals.
Terrible, as David Freese is done for the year.
New injury on that same ankle, right?
It's a torn tendon in the right ankle. John Mozeliak, Cardinals GM, meeting with the media before the game tonight. Apparently Freese heard a pop as he rounded third base, pulled up awkwardly, and he is on his way home. This is hammered deep right to the track. At the wall. Goodbye. Home run for Toby Rasmus. Number 18. 1-0 St. Louis here in the first.
We're playing matchups. Kobe shouldn't be in the lineup. But right now, he's going to get a lot more playing time. And look at that ball. Misses location. Down and into the left-handed batter. That's right in his swing plane right now. That's only his 3rd hit off of Bud Norris in 14 plate appearances. His first home run. Only the 2nd home run that Norris has surrendered to a Cardinal. Cardinals the best record when they take the lead, and Kobe just gave him that lead.
So David Freese, the St. Louis native, finishes his year with a .296 average and a .404 slugging percentage. 36 ribbies in 70 games for the Redbirds. That hurts. 1 ball, 1 strike on Albert Pujols.
Pujols has homered in 3 straight games. He's the first player this decade to have 25 or more home runs and 75 RBIs.
On the inside corner, 1-2.
Excuse me, you know, and
First time it was a day game that Norris pitched. Struck out Pujols on his slider a couple of times that afternoon.
And he's won all 3 of his games. He's 3-1 in day games. He's 0-6 in night games this year.
And there it is, at outside pitch at 97 on the gun. First strikeout for Bud Norris. Lee, Bourgeois, and Pence in the outfield. This is presented by Dobbs. Johnson, Sanchez, Keppinger, and Feliz along the infield. And it's Bud Norris and Jason Castro, the battery tonight. First strikeout for Norris, and it brings in Matt Holliday. Holliday at 298, and even 20 home runs. He's driven in 63. Holliday on the backswing. It looked like he caught the catcher. Takes a long, vicious swing.
Didn't take long for a catcher to realize that and pay attention so he doesn't get hurt.
0-1 pitch. 0-2. Norris, we've seen him, as we've talked about, and he has very good stuff against the Cardinals, and you wonder why he only has 3 wins this year total.
The Cardinals have chased a lot of his sliders out of the strike zone, and he's thrown the fastball by him.
That will find the seats out of play. Mentioned last night how some of these young players with Ludwig having been shipped to San Diego will get a chance to play. They don't look over their shoulders. Doesn't matter if it's lefty, righty. Play every day and have a chance to play the entire game. That may be the case here with Colby. You would hope, and it looks like it so far, he's playing relaxed and could thrive.
I think he'd be playing against most right-handed pitchers, but he's thrown a history in minor leagues of hitting lefties too.
Norris back-to-back strikeouts. Pujols and Holliday, but Colby Rasmus 398-foot home run. Solo shot, 1-0 after an inning of play.
Saturday night at Scott Trade, the local boy, Devin Alexander, will put his 140-pound title on the line against Andrei Kotelnik. You're 20-0, undefeated, and this will be your first chance to be a world champion and fight in your hometown. I know you're excited for that.
Oh, man, I'm extremely excited. For the people who don't know me, I started off on the undercards of Corey Spinks. I was fighting in an arena with nobody in there, you know. I was fighting so early, but now main event on HBO. I'm pumped up that it's hometown. I'm going to have a lot of supporters out there, so I'm hyped.
And everyone wants a piece of this guy, including Kotelnik. What kind of fight are you expecting?
Well, he's going to be a solid fighter. He's a ex-Olympian, so he's going to come to fight and take what I got. But it won't happen.
And I know you've been training. You just got back from Las Vegas. I assume the training went well.
Went great. Me and my coach, we had a tremendous camp. We was in Las Vegas 7 weeks in Mount Charleston. And whoever don't know about the mountains, it's no joke. So we're definitely ready.
A base hit for Lee. Again, it's Saturday night at Scottrade. It'll be this guy, Devin Alexander, putting his title on the line. And we should mention that Thursday night at 7:30 on Fox Sports Midwest, we have the story of his life, 7:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. And, guys, it's worth watching. Devin, good luck and thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks again for having me, my friend.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, Jim, good job. Looking forward to that fight. And as he mentioned on the undercard, number of times, the Spinks fights always got a lot of publicity, but Alexander is moving up the ranks and could be a world champion.
And his trainer, local also, Kevin Cunningham, who is gaining an outstanding reputation. And I'm sure Kevin will have his fighter ready, and good luck to him.
Here's Keppinger at 4 RBIs last night. Right down the middle, looks at a strike. Jeff Keppinger on the season hitting .293, 5 homers, and 40 RBIs. So, Al, how do the Cardinals, in your opinion, address the situation with David Freese, as, again, his season, without question, is over? He is not going to come back this year. And from now until the end of August, you could put in a claim on players, waiver claim. Mike Lowell is a name that's out there. Boston Red Sox. Another player that people talk about is Ty Wigginton. Base hit as Ryan was playing near the bag.
You know, I asked John Mozeliak when we saw Kentu, the former Florida Marlin, get traded, and I said, did you have any interest? And he said, no, we really had more interest in Tejada, but he was traded to San Diego, but he really couldn't find a match. But I'm sure he will really scour the wires and see what's available. You know, everyone was so hopeful that Freese would be returning in a couple days, and now that's not the case. So it is after the trade deadline, but we know trades can be made. They're sometimes a little more difficult.
Here's Pedro Feliz. Looks at a strike.
And the fact now that every general manager knows the Cardinals feel there's an urgency to do so, and you know the asking price gets a little higher.
Big Cardinal fans celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary. Gary and Sherry McConnell from Joplin, Missouri, here with their daughters. The Bank of America Club. Nothing at 2.
You were bringing up a very interesting thought that I hadn't thought about it. As watch Jaime, you know, right there, a little cutter, but Alan Craig has played some third base. Now it's been probably a couple of years, but you wonder if they would give him a crash course under Oquendo and Patini and see what would happen there. But there gives you another option, because you know, like right now you got Alan Craig in right field, but John Jay, a hot hitter, sitting out.
No Tyler Green. He has been put on the disabled list. So your options right now are more than likely Lopez and Aaron Miles. 0-2 pitch. We've even seen Brendan Ryan a couple of years ago when he was more of the utility guy. He even played some third base.
And now he's starting to settle in and play so well at shortstop. You almost feel like just leave him alone and just let him, because you know he's starting to help himself offensively. Tyler Green was getting sent down, and his agent relayed that
Miles throws it away into right field. It's going to tie the ball game up as Lee will score. So he gets the ground ball, fielder's choice, E5 on the play. Right on cue as we were talking about third base.
Yep, and there he had a little more time. He tried to rush the throw from his knees. He's off balance. He throws it wide. Schumacher has no chance for it, and it is only Aaron's third error, but limited playing time. And a costly one, as runners at the corners now, and still nobody out.
Here's Chris Johnson. 1-1 game. Johnson off to a good start, hitting .343.
He had a 14-game hitting streak stopped before he got to town. And he picked up right where he left off. Just under 300 against lefties. He's got 23 RBIs the last 40 games, so
be careful. Last night we saw that both starters did not factor in the decisions. Brett Myers, Major League leading, fourth start of the season against the Cardinals, and Jake Westbrook, 6 innings and 7 strikeouts, and he was very pleased with his performance.
No doubt about it.
In the air, out to left center. Rasmus on the track makes the catch. Runner from first is not tagged up to go to second.
That's
and
terrible.
It's 2-1 Houston, as Feliz very easily could have been at second base.
Yeah, he just took things for granted and just was coasting back, had his back to the play, and was never reacted. That he should be standing at second base.
RBI 24 for Johnson as Keppinger scores. 2-1 Houston lead, their first lead tonight.
You know, a club like Houston is no fun to play when on paper you're supposed to dominate against them. They're supposed to lay down, but they're just going to play free and easy, like you said. And the longer they can stay with you, or last night they came from behind, won big, and they don't know they're not supposed to stay with the big boys.
Last night, that late inning rally, first time since 1999. Only the 6th time in Houston franchise history. They won a game by at least 5 runs after trailing by multiple runs in the 8th inning or later. And oddly enough, all 6 of those games were played on the road.
And this team is playing extremely well in the Central Division.
0-2 pitch. But outside the division, their winning percentage is rough. It's around 300 as opposed to what they do inside the division.
Yeah, go figure that.
We'll see the lefty Happ pitch against the Cardinals tomorrow night.
He was a centerpiece in the Oswalt trade coming from Philadelphia. He was brilliant in his first outing.
You talked about Al. I mean, it's a situation where you're getting a young lefty that has major league experience, that people believe has plus stuff, that Houston offered in that deal. And the Cardinals were not going to give up a guy like Garcia.
No.
That just wasn't going to happen. Can they turn 2? Out at second, back to first, off the glove of Pujols, but backing up Schumacher. 3-6 on the play. And speaking of inside the division, our Toyota keys to the game this season against the NL Central. Jaime is 4-1, ERA that is under 2. Only 13 walks in 37 plus innings and 35 strikeouts.
Jaime leads National League rookies with 9 wins, 94 strikeouts coming in. And he's second in innings pitched, third in ERA, third in the National League, and getting better than 71% ground balls. How about this? He has not allowed more than 3 earned runs to any National League opponent this season. And last time out, the Mets were the only team to have 3 earned runs against him.
And that's a base hit by the pitcher, Norris. 2-out hit for Bud Norris, takes us back to the top of the lineup. 3 hits in the inning. Brings in Bourgeois, who was ahead in the count to start the game. 3 balls, no strikes, and eventually popped out to the shortstop, Brendan Ryan. The Cards and Reds keep on battling back and forth for the top spot in the Central. Good pick by Molina. And Cincinnati is at Pittsburgh tonight.
And they had a rain delay there, so they're just getting underway. Nothing in the bottom of the first.
Pittsburgh has lost 5 straight, 23 games out. How about the Cubs? They've lost 6 straight.
18-1 was the final last night.
They've traded some key pieces away of that team with Lilly and Terrio, and they know that their manager is gone after the end of the year. Not a lot of motivation there. One pitch. That's hit out to left. In trouble. Holiday won't get it. One hops off the wall. 1 run is in. They'll hold up Bud Norris at third. Bourgeois with a 2-out double. 3-1 Houston. Bourgeois with his second RBI. That'll send the 8th man to the plate here at the top of the second.
Ball was smoked by Bourgeois. It just never got up. If you don't hit him, the ball is hit just as hard. Molina looks like he's set up outside. That's on the inner part of the plate, up and hit very hard. Just never got up to go out of the ballpark, but hit just as hard enough. Now they're breaking ball bouncing in front of Molina.
Here comes Dave Duncan. They don't like what they see. 4 base hits in the inning and 3 runs.
Well, Jaime, when he's usually so good at keeping the ball down, whether he doesn't have his curveball, he's got his slider. Then he's always got his changeup. So right now he's really struggling. There's the curveball and textbook, but that ball's 5 feet out in front of home plate, and a very tough for a catcher to block it. But Molina does a nice job, and he went out. Duncan followed as Jaime a little out of whack. Great first inning.
1 ball, no strikes on Angel Sanchez. Singleton scored a run as a pinch hitter last night. Career high 2 RBIs Saturday. He was acquired by Houston from Boston in exchange for catcher Kevin Cash. Spent most of the season at AAA Pawtucket. Colby on the move. Can he get there? No. Over his head and to the wall. Sanchez on his way to second base as Rasmus was playing in center field. Just like that, you look up and it's 5-1 Houston. They start to stretch now in the Cardinal bullpen.
Catch a little bit too much of the plate, but more importantly, these guys are going up there very, very comfortable, as nothing's been inside to at least get their attention.
5 hits in the inning, 3 in a row, and here's Hunter Pence. Pence struck out his first time up.
It's almost like playing a young, inexperienced team at the beginning of the season. They're not quite, they don't know that they aren't supposed to win, but right now they just kind of are playing on adrenaline. They feel good about themselves. They all have a chance to play on an everyday basis. There's so few veteran guys, and they're just having a little fun. And
Pence trying to make it 10 straight games with a base hit. His longest streak is 13 games. Here's a 1-1 pitch. With 2-1 now the count. Pence 332 with 8 home runs, 31 RBIs against the NL Central this year. Sanchez at second. That's hard hit. Nice stop by Schumacher. Saves a run. Takes the hit away. Big inning though for Houston. They pick up 5 runs. They pick up a lead. Craig, Schumacher, Molina coming up. former Cardinals first-round pick, will have a better Major League Baseball career. Derek Barton, who was part of that big deal with the big lefty a few years ago. Clayton Mortensen, Chris Perez, Brett Wallace. I'll say Chris Perez. He's going to get a chance to close some games out. He already has with Cleveland, but Kerry Wood was shipped to the Yankees, and Perez has a very good opportunity to grab hold of that closer's role in the American League.
And I'll say Brett Wallace. For what reason, I don't know.
Alan Craig. Wallace had an RBI, his first ever in the big leagues last night.
But
Craig was on fire in the minor leagues.
And he's got 76 RBIs. And there's Brett Wallace, who got his first hit in his second big league game. That was on Sunday. And then he got his first RBI in the big leagues. With the lefty on the mound, the left-hand hitting Wallace will get a rest here. It's been kind of a whirlwind for him last couple days. But he's in a very good position right now if he shows anything.
Jamie Quirk was talking before the game about just giving these guys a little breathing room to see what they can do. And then when you notice something, you approach these young players and say, this is how we feel. You can better yourself at this level. But initially, they'll give them a chance to play the way that they have been playing. Tomorrow night, Toyota Cardinals live pregame show. We'll tag along with Adam Wainwright as he heads to work. Follow him to his favorite stops along the way. Find out what he listens to on the radio. Hear what goes through his mind as he gets set for the game. That's tomorrow night, 6:30 on Toyota Cardinals Live. Here's Schumacher.
Nice play by Skip to end the second inning for the Astros after 5 hits and 5 runs, 4 of which were unearned.
Throwing air by Miles really opened it up. But wasn't like Garcia.
Yeah, you got to pitch.
Giving up blue pits.
You got to pitch around it. You know that because they're unearned doesn't mean that you don't have to. That you are exonerated totally.
Yeah, he wasn't fooling anybody.
No.
2 balls and a strike on Schumacher. Comes in hitting .256. 3 home runs, 26 RBIs. Gap into right center field.
3 hits after the error.
It's a very low strike zone tonight from Todd Tichenor, our home plate umpire.
But if he's calling it for both sides, that should be an advantage for Garcia, ground ball pitcher.
Strikeout for Norris, his 3rd tonight. Friday, August 20th, join the Cardinals with United Way sponsors and agencies for a night at the ballpark. Fans can enjoy discounted tickets to see the Cardinals and Giants, and a portion of the ticket sales benefiting the United Way. This special ticket price will also include a hot dog and soda coupon. To purchase a ticket for that night, just head to cardinals.com/UnitedWay.
I think he's had some success, the most of any Cardinal player against Bud Norris. And he's hit .333 since the All-Star break.
Yachty at .242, 4 homers and 38 RBIs. Molina, as you mentioned, much better since the break. Brendan Ryan as well. Ryan has 6 multi-hit games in his last 8. Cardinals go in order. Bud Norris in Houston with a 5-1 lead after 2. $4.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh just underway. They have moved to the second inning, no score. Jim Hayes has joined us. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, Jim, terrible news concerning David Freese. His season is through.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are now pondering what their options are at third base. Felipe Lopez not in there tonight, a little swelling of the knee, so Tony said he needed a day and will get it. But there was discussion about Alan Craig possibly being used at third base. Craig played a little infield in college, played some third base, and he told me played about 10 games at Memphis at third base last year, although Tony La Russa said we'd like to give him a look there in a situation where it's not going to put a lot of pressure on him, where we can see what he's got.
But you got to try to find out some way, somehow, and only way to do that, Al, is to play him.
Well, that's true, but in fairness, and Tony's trying to be very fair with him, you want him to be comfortable. He's trying to figure out how to play the outfield right now at this level.
A lot of hard hit balls tonight.
And so, you know, they'll ease him in, but, you know, give him a couple days working with Okendo and Patini, and I'm sure at some point you'll put him over there and see how he reacts.
For example, tonight, facing a lineup that's heavy right-handed hitters, he didn't think it'd be a good time for Craig to start at third base.
And you got a ground ball pitcher, so he might see so much action and lose a little confidence. Or, you know, given that opportunity, he might star for you. But it is a way to have his bat in there. And John Jay, who's been productive, he took an 0 for last couple days. And by the way, will you tell Jim I'm not speaking to him?
I had no idea. You know, I had heard, as we talked about last night, that you were supposed to be the celebrity spokesmodel on the cat fight. That I sent you over there, Al, and look what happened. Jim, you want to explain what happened?
Well, we had John Abamonte, the assistant general manager of the Cardinals, already booked ahead of time.
Why did you book me yesterday?
Because I never thought you'd show up. We had to boot you. What you did was you bum rushed the set.
Well, I mean, when I left yesterday, did he say that he already had a booking? I was the investor.
As we went to break out, and I did not give you a chance to say no. I said Al will be appearing tomorrow night on the cat fight, and at that point in time, we went right to break. So
there was no confirmation.
Well, behind the scenes there was, Jim.
Whatever Dan tells me to do, I do.
That's disappointing.
Well, I'm opposite. When a member of the Cardinals front office says, I want in on the cat fight, I listen.
Are they your team, or is Al?
Sometimes I wonder.
The truck can verify that I was so excited. I told everyone, hey, I feel like I finally arrived. I'm going to be the spokesmodel. I'm going to be in the cat fight.
Even Tommy and Mike Kelly, our producer and director, asked us to get to the booth here a little bit earlier so we could go over our production meeting.
So I would be available.
So we're completely available. There'd be no holding you back, Al, to be part of the cat fight.
So you got here at about 6:20.
That's not true.
Here's the thing. Many times on the cat fight, I tell the celebrity spokesmodel to vamp a little, and I thought if that were Al, I might be punched.
Hard hit to Miles. Stays with it. Across the diamond. Low throw. And they'll get the out.
They have a potential double play. They do get one.
And Lee is at second base. Here's Pedro Feliz. Fielder's choice E5 back in the second inning. Again, they scored 5 runs in that second, and 4 of those were unearned. How was John Abamonte?
Did a very nice job. He was also a lifeline for one of the contestants and provided a correct answer.
Do you feel like you let Al down a little bit?
I feel like Al got exactly what he deserved.
You take that, Al?
No, I meant that in the best positive way, Al.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Feliz. Base hit. Here comes Carlos Lee. Chug it in. Throw to the plate. A strike. Safe at the plate. Lee as Molina couldn't hold on, and it's 6-1.
Kobe Rasmus, his best throw we've seen him.
Very good throw.
He was going to be out, and Molina, the two-time Gold Glove winner, couldn't hold on. As Kobe is not deep, but he charges, comes up, throws a strike right there, one hop, and the ball gets away from Molina.
The umpire gave the safe call. I wonder if his hand even initially got in there.
I don't know how it could have.
He blocked this very well. He just snuck it in there. Can't tell from that angle. Regardless, it's 6-1. Missed double play cost the Cardinals.
See, plenty of time. Just hold on to it. He's out, and Molina, who is so good, even on collisions, and there really wasn't going to be a collision there as he tried to slide around, reach his left hand in and apply the tag, but balls drop. Can't do anything about it, but the makings of not a very good defensive game again.
Here's the 0-1 pitch.
John Mozeliak told me before the game that in terms of the way the defense will set up in the absence of Freeze, for now, they've been doing what they've been doing while Freeze's ankle was on the mend, just plugging guys in and hoping for the best.
0-2 pitch and a strikeout for Jaime. His third tonight, and there's 2 outs. But David Freese, battered and bruised. We'll take a look at the Redbirds' options at third base over at FoxSportsMidwest.com. BJ Raines will check in. Lopez has been filling in for Freese best he can, but should the Cardinals seek additional help? That's the question that's asked. And BJ Raines will take a look at that at FoxSportsMidwest.com. There's also a page that is dedicated to Whitey Herzog at FoxSportsMidwest.com. And I do want to tell you, very nice job with your Spotlight program with Whitey. I watched that tonight. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Colleen Ryan produced that. John Mozeliak told me before the game as well that he realizes going outside the organization for help at third is going to be difficult now at this time.
No doubt. As Al pointed out, teams know Cardinals need help. Back into a corner at 6-1. It's 6-1. Houston with the lead. Bottom of the third. And Bud Cy Young Norris in control of this one. Again, he has been dominant in his career against the St. Louis Cardinals, albeit brief. But boy, he has just been unbelievable when he takes on the Cardinals.
Hey, his first 20 innings were shutout innings before the Cardinals ever dented him. They did beat him in Houston last time he started against them, but 3-0 in this ballpark with a microscopic 0.45 ERA coming into this one, and already to, give up the solo home run to Kobe, but that's it.
Didn't you kind of feel like when they got to him last time that maybe the kryptonite effect was over?
Yes, we did.
Hoping.
That's the voice of Jim Hayes, who is in the booth with us, Dan McLaughlin and Al Raboski, the mad Hungarian, who was quite upset that he was not part of Jim's pregame shenanigans.
Probably the most humiliating thing of my life.
Really is.
Well, we appreciate you making the trip all the way over to the set.
Well, I'm glad, because that'll be the last time.
I figured as much.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Nice note from Mark Grant, who made the drive from the Ozarks. In a convertible, he says, and enjoyed the weather along the way. It was hot here in St. Louis. I'm sure that was a long, hot ride from the Ozarks. Also his good buddy John Reynolds watching tonight. And both those gentlemen from the Ozarks. So nice note from them. Brings in Brendan Ryan. And Brendan, as we talked about before, starting to swing the bat much better. Had a big series against Pittsburgh over the weekend. Average has jumped to 218.
And multi-hit games, the 6 of the last 8, hitting .483 during that time.
Jim would like to talk about Jake Westbrook. Jim?
Well, I would. He was kind enough to join us on the pregame show, and there's a guy who feels like he got a new lease on life with his career, coming to St. Louis, being part of a pennant race, getting to work in a rotation that already includes Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, and a young and impressive Jaime Garcia, and of course working with Dave Duncan. And Al, you'd have to say he got his Cardinal career off to a good start last night. 6 solid innings, although I'm sure wishes the Cardinals would have won the ball game.
Yeah, we thought they might have, he was right at 100 pitches, thought he might try and send him back out there, but you could fully understand, make sure it was a very positive outing, and a lot of ground balls, and surprisingly 7 strikeouts.
He said that was his only disappointment, aside from his team not winning the game, was that he didn't go deeper. He said he plans to go deeper in games, and that's exactly what the Cardinals need at this point in terms of saving their bullpen.
2-2 pitch here to Brendan Ryan. First time through the lineup, and Cy Norris with 5 strikeouts.
I don't like when you say that.
I'm not really worried about it. Traveling this season, you can take the Cardinals with you. Pair MLB.com's At Bat 2010 with your MLB.TV subscription and watch games live and on demand from your iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad throughout the regular season. For details, visit Cardinals.com.
Damn, 32 or a veteran like Westbrook, you still got a little more adrenaline and probably a little more hyped up than he normally is.
Really, I did enjoy the cat fight. I thought you were pretty good tonight.
Thank you.
See you on the postgame. This date in history, back in 01, Matt Morris gives up 5 runs in the first inning, but holds the Marlins scoreless over the next 6 innings. Cardinals rally and win that game. Keegan Kozum, big Cardinal fan, taking in the ball game tonight here at Busch Stadium. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. We're in the 4th inning, and this is Bud Norris. One ball and 2 strikes on Norris. Just missed on the inside corner. Norris with a base hit and a run scored, part of that 5-run second inning. Astros added another run and they lead it 6-1. 2-2 pitch. 3 hops to Schumacher and he'll make the play.
And it is early, but the Pirates have a 6-0 lead over Cincinnati.
That's what we need to see, huh?
Well, and Cardinals come from behind, take this one, pick up some ground.
Don't know if you saw the highlight, but Orlando Cabrera swung and is going to be dealing now with a strained oblique, which those injuries, the shortstop for the Reds, you just don't know how quickly somebody can come back from those.
And Votto had the wrist problem.
Roland's been dealing with a sore hamstring.
So still a lot of season, and there's a lot of games you really don't think there's going to be too much separation between the two. And good or bad, I think we only have 6 games left with Cincinnati.
1-1 pitch. The positive for the Cardinals. Initially, when the schedule came out, you looked at how it was so heavy at the end against the Cubs, and you worried about that a little bit. It's never an easy place to go play in Wrigley Field. You don't know about the Cubs, just how good they might be. The Cubs right now are falling apart. And they don't have Lilly. They don't have Terrio. You don't know about Derek Lee.
Well, they said because the Westbrook trade was salary neutral, there was still money available. I think the Cubs would trade Ramirez.
I don't think he'd come here, but yes, I do think they'd like to trade him. Wouldn't surprise me. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Brendan Ryan wants it, and he's got it. 2 away. Angel Sanchez will be the hitter. Sanchez with an RBI double back in the 2nd inning, and he also struck out 1 for 2 tonight.
He singled and scored a run as a pinch hitter last night. Already mentioned that he was acquired from Boston in exchange for Kevin Cash. Spent the majority at AAA, where he had 274.
Pitch right there. Both sides have not gotten it. Take it high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sanchez. One and 2 the count. Cardinals will have Rasmus, who is homered tonight. Pujols and Holiday coming up. Lance Berkman picked up an RBI last night for the Yankees. First in pinstripes. There at the Bronx is their 3rd baseman. A-Rod looks for number 600. Still.
Dan, Berkman's average was down, but you still would think he would be an upgrade over the injured Nick Johnson as their DH for the Yankees.
2-2. Slicing foul. Speaking of Berkman and Roy Oswalt, one a Yankee, the other to Phil. Awful lot of games against the Cardinals over the years. Oswald closed out Busch Stadium 2. Game 6 of the NLCS. 2-2 pitch. Up the middle and a base hit. Hit number 8 tonight for Houston.
Basically a full year for Berkman facing just the Cardinals, and almost a full season of starts for Oswald.
On Thursday, watch Gateway to Greatness. Special show sharing the story of Devin Alexander. We heard from him earlier. Jim's interview with him. For tickets to the fight, go to Ticketmaster.com or the box office. Watch Gateway to Greatness on Thursday, 7:30 on Fox Sports Midwest.
You'll get to talk to one of your idols tomorrow.
Oh, so now when Don King comes in the booth, you'll go sit back there. But when Whitey's here, you'll stay in the booth and right here with me.
Correct.
You don't want to hang with Don King?
That has nothing to do with hanging with Don King.
We'd love to have you.
I just figured between your two egos, there was no room for me.
That's right. You have no ego, Al. Goodness. Cardinals 3-foot by 5-foot banner, 3x5 banner. Show your love for the team. 25,000 fans will receive this Cardinals banner courtesy of Coke Zero and Walmart. That's ripped into right. Kobe's 2 for 2.
2 for 2. The only 2 hits the Cardinals have tonight, and his 18th home run, and this ball was jumped on, hit with authority. Kobe's pushing about 280.
So Don King, the Mad Hungarian, side by side tomorrow. Sight to be seen right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Here's Pujols, who struck out. Looks at a fastball and a strike. Albert Pujols has gone 7 games now without a walk.
Second in the National League in walks. First in intentional walks in the major leagues.
Longest streak like that, 11 games of his rookie year.
He's homered in 3 straight games.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
Father Time. Paul Pagano celebrating his 87th birthday today.
Pujols, base hit in the left. Back-to-back singles to start the bottom half of the fourth.
Set up away, the ball stays up in the middle of the plate. Pulled through on the left side, right by Chris Johnson. Albert back to 300 now.
You were upset at Father Time.
Paul Pagano?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
You were talking
Wonderful
about him,
gentleman.
Last night after the game. You were upset about something he did. Well, happy birthday to Father Time. 87. Strike to Holiday. One pitch to Holiday.
Time for the Cardinals to get on the scoreboard. There's 3 hits, 2 of them right here this inning, and Holiday, who has hit a home run off of Norris. He was the only Cardinal to do so before Kobe.
Eight-week-old Will Schneck is attending his first Cardinals game tonight. 8-week-old, and I'm sure enjoying every minute of this 95-degree heat. 2 balls and a strike. Holiday, left center. Bourgeois will get it. Makes the catch.
All just hung up. Wouldn't get down, allows the speedy center fielder to run underneath it and make the play. Mentioned Alan Craig. He was leading all Cardinal minor leaguers in RBIs, batting .322, 14 home runs, 76 RBIs at Memphis. It's his 4th time he's been recalled. It's like 1 for 19, his first stop as he broke camp where the ball clubbed for the first time, but first time he ever experienced playing sporadic, playing off the bench. And
maybe Tommy, our director, can give us a shot of Alan Craig from the side, and you'll see where he positions his hands with a guy that throws in that mid to high 90s and trying to catch up with a major league fastball.
Yeah, he's hit at every level, but here you wonder, can he, the way he positions that bat, he brings it back, and you see how the barrel's pointing forward, makes it a longer swing. And here with pitchers that can exploit that, run that ball up and in, you know, it's something that is a little bit concerning, but he has hit at every level. And the Cardinals believe he will hit here too.
Here's a 1-1. Craig, base hit. Rasmus being waved home. He will score to make it 6-2.
The RBI machine in the minor leagues gets his 7th RBI here in the big leagues. Now, it was slider speed, and a lot of people believe when you got somebody that has that barrel like that, you know, pump the fastball, because you just speed up their bat with a slider, but you have to prove that you can hit the fastball. Here he pulls the ball, goes through. Cardinals have 3 hits this inning, and they get their 2nd run.
Schumacher struck out first time up. Norris struck out 5 first time through the lineup. Average at 255. See what he's done with runners in scoring position. Hitting .328. Big gap in the right center. Bud Norris had 54 pitches so far. That's a base hit. Pujols was held up. Here he comes to the plate and scores. Runs right through the sign. And it's now 6-3.
They've been lucky there. Hunter Pence has one of the better throwing arms and a lot of assists. Well, here's Schumacher. 328, as you said, with runners in scoring position. Ball on the inside. Doesn't get it all far enough in. Also hit. You'll see Oquendo hold him up, but he just runs right through it, and he gets away with it. Hunter Pence, one of the better throwing arms, and this one up the line, and Albert comes around and scores the third run. Got a ball game now, as Molina will represent the potential tying run at home plate.
Went right through the sign, and it's 6-3. Bud Norris, 6th-round selection back in 2006, the PCL Pitcher of the Year. When he was 4-9 in 19 starts, and the Pitcher of the Year.
The ERA was outstanding.
2.63.
And that is a hitter's league, the PCL. Small ballparks and other parts, the ball travels extremely well.
Here's Yadier Molina. And 4 players that have played in the major league since 2000 with the name of Bud. Buddy Carlisle, Buddy Groom, and our very own Bud Smith. One ball, one strike.
Seen Norris throw the ball by Cardinal hitters. We've seen him chase his breaking ball.
Going back, Al, to last year in the minor leagues, Baseball America said he had the best fastball in their organization. We've seen that. And they said he had the 7th best curveball of all prospects. It's more of a slider, though.
Yeah, to us it looks more like a slider, but I noticed that last time he pitched against us, they call it a curveball in Sky Report.
2 balls and a strike. Molina tonight has grounded out to second.
Molina has had some success against Norris.
If you're wondering, last home run for Yadi nearly 2 months ago. Ground ball, could be 2. Out at second, double play. So the threat is through. Double play off the bat of Yadier Molina. Cardinals, though, pick up 2 runs. It's 6-3 after 4. Chris Carpenter tomorrow. Budweiser at 6:30 are what's on tap. Happ and Carpenter. Happ is 2-0, 1.27 ERA, and Chris Carpenter will get the start for the Redbirds. Carpenter make his team and National League leading 24th start of the season. And Jim was telling us in a conversation that he had, he feels as healthy as he has in a long, long time.
Going into the season, because of some of the injuries Chris has had, he kind of in his mind feels that, there's one pitch could end his career, but so he's going to enjoy it. And now he just feels healthy as can be. Has not had any problems with that nerve condition. Had a little minor turn up with the elbow, and everything is going strong. He's had little bouts with where he hadn't felt 100% mechanically, but all that is getting better, and he's pitching better now since the All-Star break than he has all season long.
Change up to Carlos Lee underway here in the 5th. Carpenter coming off 3 consecutive home outings of at least 8 innings and allowing 1 run or less. He's had 1 start this year against Houston, 8 innings, and a 4-1 loss back on May 13th. The 0-2 pitch, vicious cut by Lee, and it's fouled back.
All of a sudden now Jaime's got a little better command of that curveball. And for whatever reason, maybe he's worn himself down a little bit. He can shut these down, and now all of a sudden Dave Duncan comes out there. It almost looked, I wonder if he winced a little bit after that last delivery.
Is it that, or is it Dave Duncan questioning
his pitches?
The pitch selection? Happy birthday to Bill and Nancy Weber from Macon, Missouri. Nancy celebrating her 75th birthday, and Bill will be celebrating his 78th birthday on August 6th. Been married for 54 years. They have 4 daughters, 7 grandkids, 14 great-grandkids. Lee, a high fly ball. And the catch made by Craig. So happy birthday to Bill and Nancy. Krispy Kreme doesn't deal if your Cardinals hit 12 base hits today. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow to receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $2.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal. Here's Keppinger. A strike just below the knees. Keppinger with a single, a run scored. He's also grounded out to third. That's off the mask of Molina. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Reds have picked up a run to make it 6-1 in favor of the Pirates as they head to the bottom of the 4th. That's in Pittsburgh. Hit to third. Miles with it. And he makes the play. Two outs, and here's Pedro Feliz. Signed a 1-year deal in the offseason. Placido Polanco is signed by the Phillies, so Pedro Feliz needed a job, and Houston picked him up. He's with the Giants for a number of years and productive with the Phils. Fielder's choice E5 back in the 2nd. And he also, Feliz, has an RBI single. Solid inning that time for Garcia. It's 6-3. year. 7 first-place finishes. Of course, they've fended off Houston a number of those times. 4 first-place finishes. The Cubs with 3. Pittsburgh with their 1 second-place finish. They actually had only 79 wins.
And you see Cincinnati, and you also see Milwaukee there, and it was the case with Milwaukee the last couple of years, but right now we think we're going to be in a dogfight with Cincinnati all season long. Whitey was talking a little bit about this the other night, that the first time those young players go through a pennant race, it's a completely different animal. And one of the reasons why Walt Jocketty brought on Scott Rowland, but there's some of those young players are going to thrive in that atmosphere. Others are going to just melt. And that is, even though the Cardinals have a lot of young players, they have their core group that have so accustomed to go through the pressures of the pennant race that it should be a distinct advantage for the Redbirds.
Young pitching, too, when you talk about what Cincinnati has. Now, Rowland, of course, has been through it. Cabrera has. He's won world championship. But they're young at other spots. Drew Stubbs, Jay Bruce, Votto. Phillips has not been there.
And I mean, it's a valid point, and it's something that you can have a lot of talent, but there is something to be said of having some guys there to teach you, the young talented players, how to win.
It's a fair ball, and Garcia is the first out. This season, easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games that you can't make on StubHub. It's the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals, and you'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season. Just head to StubHub.com and choose your seats today.
Yeah, we got a new leader of the pack in the American League East.
They're pretty good, too.
Tampa Bay beat New York today 8-2, so they take over first place by a game over the Bronx Bombers. Mike Lowell, by the way, along with Bill Hall, have homered for Boston tonight. Just in case you were wondering about Mike Lowell.
That's 2 wins in a row now for the Blue Jays over the Yankees. So 8-2. They got to A.J. Burnett last night. Tampa Bay has Minnesota, and they are leading their game.
6-3. Yeah, I was.
But the point being is that, Tampa Bay, and they brought up a kid yesterday that was their #1 prospect, Al. And I watched much of that game. Once I got back home after this game, I wanted to see him pitch. He was tremendous. He was as good as advertised. When you do that in that league, Minnesota, very good team. They've got David Price, Tampa Bay. Detroit beat Chicago today 7-1. Ties up Ryan and a strikeout. Six is a serious number. When the Cardinals score 6, you get a 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just a quarter the next day at On the Run at Mobile. Win or lose, Cardinals score 6, you score 25-cent drinks at On the Run. Yeah, Mike Lowell came off the DL and homers in his first at-bat back. Phillies had to place Ryan Howard on the DL with his nasty ankle sprain. There was a doubleheader between Detroit and the White Sox. White Sox won 12-2 in the first game and lost 7-1 in the second. Chicago leads by a game right now as we speak over Minnesota, and 7 in front of Detroit.
Big John Mayberry's son got called up when Ryan Howard put on the disabled list. He's a big kid, but not a slender. Not as big as his dad.
That's hit out of play. A-Rod missed the Yankees team photo today. They couldn't find him.
Pressure of 600, huh?
Well, he basically said that. He said, my mind just isn't there right now, and the Photoshop A-Rod in there. As Miles hits it out to shallow left. Lee makes the catch. And the Cardinals go quietly. We played 5 here at Busch Stadium. Houston on top 6-3. One at the kitchen at Lumiere Place or the great food exposition at River City. Visit My Choice Center for details. And by Taco Bell, open 2 a.m. or later.
And Ken Clark is celebrating his 84th birthday today. 60 years ago, he was saying, I do, as Ken and Carolyn Clark are celebrating their 60th birthday, their 60th wedding anniversary. They're here from South Fulton, Tennessee.
Doc Holliday with 7 strong innings. Struck out 9 over those 7. 1 run on 5 hits. 6-1 Phillies over Florida. Hard hit ball and a leadoff base hit for Chris Johnson.
Johnson been stinging the ball. He's really had that hitting streak stopped at 14, but he didn't stop hitting there. He's got hits in the last couple days. See, Houston is headed in the right direction. They've right now look like they got some fun kids that want to swing the bats, and they're pitching extremely well. Reason why they've won 6 straight, and now Dave Duncan out again is
3rd time.
Activity in the bullpen.
Nationals placed Adam Dunn on waivers, according to multiple sources. Dunn is looking for a 4-year deal.
And what you do, you have different types of waivers. You have revocable and irrevocable waivers. So kind of gives you a judge as to who might be interested in someone. Somebody claims you could pull them back. But it's kind of it's a game. Sometimes a competitor will claim somebody, and then but you could get stuck with a guy if you're not careful. There are 94 pitches. Boggs warming up.
keep an eye on these pitches here when Garcia, whether good or bad, gets in the 6th inning. Cardinals have a pretty quick hook with him this year.
Well, tonight's game, he's gotten a lot of pitches up, and when you start tiring, you have a tendency to, your legs are the first to go. When you don't have your legs underneath you, you get the ball up and it becomes a lot more hittable. Castro is hitting consecutive games for the first time in his career, going 3 for 8 in the last 2 contests. He's the Astros' #1 draft pick of 2008 draft.
Will not see Jason Mott. He's been telling folks he had a little discomfort the other night with his shoulder, so certainly you wouldn't think that he's a guy that the Cardinals could turn to tonight. Got inflammation in the joint. Ball gets away. Another breaking ball that really, Al, has been inconsistent here tonight.
Now the ball kind of gets away from Molina. Just not used to seeing that at all. Scored a wild pitch.
Fought off and a base hit into left. Pulled up the runner. Dave Clark makes sure if you're going to be coming through and he's holding you up, he just about tackles you at third base, where he gets himself in position, a third base coach.
And there's that little hump in that breaking ball, and that'll be it. As Tony will walk out and make the pitching change, and Boggs will be coming in.
So right-hander Mitchell Boggs, part of our Chevy call to the bullpen, coming in. Runners at first and third, nobody out here at the top of the 6th. So he's been lifted. Cardinals trailing 6-3 here in the top of the 6th. And Mitchell Boggs is in. Hard-throwing right-hander, 44th appearance. 17 walks in, 47-plus innings, 35 strikeouts, and an ERA of 3.23. You have a chance to get out of this inning with the pitcher here, and then potential of a double play, and certainly a guy like Boggs is a strikeout pitcher.
And that's why that wild pitch was troublesome. It took out the double play situation back there. There are no outs, and with the second base hit, you have that. And you see there, you kind of little fake to third, throw to first, or step off, you know, and you watch the batter, and he gave it away that he was showing bunt, at least on first pitch.
Bud Norris has struck out 6 tonight. Gets the bunt down. Runner from third stays put. And there's the first out in the inning. Sack 1-4 on the play. One of the great stories this year in baseball, undoubtedly, the San Diego Padres. They're 20 games above 500. They've done this with Chris Young making one start. Cal Blanks hit 157. He blew out his elbow. Everett Cabrera, who's supposed to be one of their top middle infielders, may get shipped back to the minor leagues. But yet you look at their bullpen, 2.77 ERA, and the league average is over 4, and their starting pitching has been tremendous. Who would have thought the San Diego Padres
would be buyers?
Right.
You know, they as a team said that, hey, we're not going to sell off our best players. We feel we're going to be very competitive, and we want to set a goal as a team that we're going to be buyers, and we're going to win this division. That's what the players went out and did.
2-0. Lead by 2 games over the Giants. 7.5 in front of Colorado. They've got a tremendous closer in Heath Bell. They've added Tejada and Ludwig. And we'll see San Diego before the season is through here at Busch Stadium. Infield is drawn in. 3 balls and no strikes.
3 consecutive sliders, as might they're content to load the bases.
On 3-0, a strike. There still could be an awful lot of movement before we get to September. A guy like Manny Ramirez could be moved if the Dodgers continue to fall out of the race. They're now 9 games back. But there's some big names out there. Dunn, who we talked about, and some of the others. Base is loaded. Almost looked like they were pitching around Bourgeois to get to Sanchez and load him up.
I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it sure did.
First walk issued by Boggs. Bases loaded. Johnson, Castro, Bourgeois all on the bases, and here is Angel Sanchez. He is struck out. He's doubled and singled.
Doesn't appear that he has much power, and they might just power him, as he has no home runs and just a few at bats. At AAA, he had no home runs. He does have speed.
Orioles win in Buck Showalter's debut, 6-3. Strike 2. This is the kind of thing when you talk about momentum in baseball. You can get out of this inning. A little momentum shifts back your way.
Talked earlier about how that low strike is being called, and almost a perfect pitch there, down and away on the black. 0-2. It's blocked there.
Yachty has been beat up tonight.
You know, playing in this heat. There's going to be another hot one tomorrow night. And with Carpenter on the mound, you would have to assume it's going to be Molina.
You do have the opting on Thursday. Both he and Pujols took extra batting practice middle of the afternoon. That's a base hit. 2 runs are in. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Look at that. 3 runs will score, and this will be a triple. Sanchez comes through, and he's now a home run away from the cycle.
Got 5 RBIs, Stan. Came out here and they just threw a fastball. Starty on it. Now their fastball right on the black. Then they throw a slider and good block here. And a fastball right in the middle of the plate. A little bit up, and he paid for it with the bases clearing triple. It is now 9-3 Houston.
Following up on your point, one swing of the bat could change what Tony La Russa does here from this inning on out. You might see a guy like Molina come out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to concede anything, but Molina all seasons long has caught Garcia, Wainwright, and Carpenter, so doesn't sound like much, but a couple innings here and there spelling him a little bit. Remember, you do have Stavanoa back. No, he was sent down. He was our emergency catcher sent down, but we'll worry about that later.
2-1.
I, for one, would never worry about using my backup catcher like some managers. All you have to do is finish a game. Miles, you're my emergency catcher now, if you're not pitching.
If you're not pitching. 2-2.
Remember how many times the last couple of years the Cardinals have just thrown breaking ball after breaking ball to Hunter Pence and having him swinging wildly.
Hit in the air down the right field line. Allen Craig makes the catch. Runner tags up and will score. That makes it 10-3. It's one of those balls where sometimes you hear some folks say, why not let it drop?
Make the play. Make the play. It was foul. You got the long run and it just did cross it. But I know, sometimes you think, okay, obviously it's going to be a sacrifice fly. It's giving them another run. So why not go back and try and get that strikeout or that pop up, keep that run from scoring? I think most people tell you get the out.
4 runs in the inning. They had a 5-run second. Now a 4-run sixth and having some fun at the Cardinals' expense. It's 10-3.
It's the 54th RBI for Hunter Pence. That breaks the tie with Carlos Lee.
That drops in for a base hit. Lee hustling all the way. On his way to third base, and he is out at third. Strong throw from Schumacher. So a double for Lee. Huge inning again for Houston. 10-3 midway through 6. In game 2 of this 3-game series, Bud Norris has allowed just 5 base hits. Houston out hit the Cardinals thus far, 12-5. Bright spot tonight for the Redbirds has been Colby Rasmus. Home run and a single. 2 runs scored. Takes a strike on the outside corner.
Colby, 4-game hitting streak, 7 for his last 13.
Just under a couple of months to go in this season. And not knowing how much he would play down the stretch, but you would assume an awful lot as you get a look at the Hardy's prime cut of the game. But Al, he could close in on 25 home runs. He's at 18 now for the year.
Remember, he hit 9 in June.
Right.
So I think right now we'd probably be a little disappointed if he didn't hit 25.
1-2 pitch to Colby Rasmus. This time he goes the other way. Backing up Carlos Lee, and he'll make the catch. Pujols has struck out and singled and scored in the 4th. Nice play, and the pick at third. 2 away.
Bouncer right there, a little play to the side. Boy, you just don't see guys square up to balls and just play everything to the side. If it takes a bad hop, it goes on through, doesn't hit him. And if it takes a bad hop, it's a base hit. Interesting to see if Tony gets some of the big guys out of there.
Two and one.
That swing we see at how guys kind of swinging at the off-speed pitch, really fooled by it.
Really pick it up late, don't they? That slider. Then he's got the mid-90s fastball. That one at 88, but we've seen him tonight 95 plus.
Yeah, that's usually a cutter's speed right there. It didn't look like it did much, but when it's called a strike and the batter doesn't swing.
That's well hit opposite way. Hunter pinches back, and it's gone. Opposite field home run, Matt Holliday. 21st of the year in RBI number 64.
So strong, he can hit it out of all parts of this field or any field. And there he gets that slider, drives it into the Cardinal bullpen for his 21st home run. 4 consecutive years he's had at least 20.
Alan Craig, the hitter. Strike one. 10-4 now in favor of Houston.
Alan Craig got up a little slowly after diving for that ball, and see the grass stains on his chest. Strong throw by Schumacher. Carlos Lee.
Center. Oh, what a play. No, they're going to say it's a trap. And back to first goes Alan Craig with a 2-out base hit.
Good hustle by Mike Riley, the crew chief. He got out there and called it immediately. Pretty good acting job by the center fielder. Real tough. He comes in on this ball. Yes, it is clearly a trap, but you see he's trying to sell it. And the good hustle. Some umpires will tell you that you can't run out there because your eyes are bouncing. So on a line drive like that, sometimes they feel it's better to go out as far as you can, then get stationary, stop, and try and get a good read.
Looks like LaRue is getting ready.
Yeah, that's what we kind of thought, that this scenario give Molina a couple innings off. Yachty would hit if the inning is extended to him, and then LaRue take over. And you wonder about the same possibly with Pujols. A little more demanding to try and keep Yachty fresh, though.
Cardinals will have the off day on Thursday, and then we'll see Hanley Ramirez and the Marlins over the weekend. Hanley, by the way, had only 1 extra base hit in the month of July.
Saw that.
They have any hope of being in that race. He has to hit for them. They're 7 games back at the start of play tonight.
And Philly beat them 6-1 behind Halladay. Mets beat Atlanta. So Philadelphia is 2 back. New York 6.5 back.
Ramirez won the batting title by hitting .342. And he's at .282. One swing of the bat, and this could get interesting.
The Reds are trying to climb back in it. They're trailing 7-3 now in the bottom of the 6th at Pittsburgh. Arnsberger out there to talk to Bud Norris. Lopez warming up. If the Cardinals don't get smacked too, looks like Trevor Miller's stirring. Who's that? McDougal. So used to seeing a skinny body and thinking it's Trevor, but McDougal a little taller and right-handed.
First and second for Molina. 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 6th. 10-4 Houston. Molina in the air to right. Pence sliding catch and makes the play to end the inning. Saves a run and takes away a base hit. Hunter Pence, nice play in right. And it's 10-4 as we head to the 7th. Mike Leake and Jaime Garcia. 17 hits allowed combined and 15 runs. 6 earned by Leake, 4 by Garcia. Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 6th of their ball game against Cincinnati. They lead it 7-3. Jason LaRue takes over behind the plate for the Cardinals. Did you read the article on Stan the Man, Al, in the most recent issue of SI?
No, I have not yet.
It's worth it. It's very well done. Seventh time that Stan the Man has been on the cover.
First time solo, right?
Correct. Here is Cappinger. 2 balls and no strikes. Mitchell Boggs working in his 2nd inning. When did you notice guys that hit a wall? You know, young players. Is this about the time historically in baseball? Middle August, late August, September?
Well, usually for the first couple of years, you know, minor leaguers are accustomed to having their season come to a halt, you know, after the beginning of September, late August. So that extra 30 days really does take a toll on them when they get to the big leagues for the first time. Another thing that always so works against them is when they're having a real good year for that first time and they start in their mind negotiating how much money they're going to make. They usually mess up their season. But for a guy like Garcia, you know, who I guess it was 06 when he threw the most innings, 155 innings. That's the most innings he's ever pitched. So there's a little bit of concern for him down the stretch. Remember, last year was only about less than 40 innings coming back from Tommy John. So that was another reason why the Cardinals felt like they had to go get at least one starting pitcher.
Tony La Russa is saying that at some point he does believe Brad Penny will pitch for the Cardinals. Now, what that role may be, who knows?
But right now, it's almost it's going to be in September.
No
if he
question
comes
about
back
it.
with
Yep.
expanded roster. So got to be extremely frustrating for Brad Penny. Initially, you know, that was talked about a 2 or 3 week injury, but he's so big and thick, you know, that muscle tear or whatever it is never just really hasn't healed, and there's the ball gets away from LaRue.
That kind of night, huh?
Yep. Yogurt, you know, sunflower seeds. What, you got a donut or something? Pass ball allows Keppinger to go to second. Gets hungry out there.
That's a base hit and a right. First and third and nobody out. Keppinger held up. Feliz a base hit. Chris Johnson will be the hitter. Feliz on base for the 3rd time tonight.
A piece of hitting there to the right side, advancing the runner.
Players I've talked to, more than the physical grind of their first year, they talk about being mentally worn out and just exhausted.
Well, that's worse. Really, the mental part can be worse than the physical. You can recover from physical, but the mental part can just carries on and drag. You never really recover from it. Reyes now warming up. Tony coming out. Wanted to convey a message. Mott had a good inning, first inning, and then he walked a couple guys in that fateful 8th inning. Here it looks like Boggs getting a couple balls up.
That's pretty well hit right center. That's trouble. 1 run will score. They'll hold up the runner at third. Now they're going to bring him in. He will score easily. Rough night for Mitchell Boggs. 12-4 Houston. Still nobody out here in the 7th. A lot of pitches have been up.
Up and over the middle of the plate. And Tony now will go to Reyes and the bullpen.
It's our Chevy called to the bullpen. Reyes coming in. This year, all Houston here tonight. 14 hits, and it's 12-4 in favor of the Astros.
Reyes on another very good streak. Sunday he threw his 11th consecutive scoreless appearance and 18 scoreless in his last 19. Remember, he started out allowing just 1 run in his first 25 appearances. Then he got roughed up in June, but a good streak again.
And that pitch taken a little bit low.
Cardinal pitching staff roughed up the last couple days by young Astros ball club.
1-0 pitch to Jason Castro.
But after the Cardinals scored 20 runs Saturday and Sunday, now they've given up 21 runs in the last 2 days.
Cardinals looking ahead. We'll have Chris Carpenter on the mound tomorrow. Open date on Thursday. There's a swing and a miss. 1-2.
Interesting. Brett Wallace on deck to face the left-hander. Got there Quintero, a catcher, and Jason Michaels, their #1 pinch hitter from the right side.
This is, the kind of game maybe where you want to see that lefty-lefty matchup. Let's find out what we have in Brett Wallace.
And you have nothing to lose.
Why not? Play him against lefties, righties, whoever.
Sure. Good point, Dan.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second. And this crowd certainly has been disappointed tonight. Well over 40,000. Liner into right center. That drops in for a hit. First and third with nobody out. Castro with the base hit. Fred Wallace would be the pinch hitter for Bud Norris.
Little slider, didn't get it far enough. Got a little bit of it. Punked it out in the right center. And here is the former #1 draft pick of the Cardinals, 08, and much traveled for a young man. 4th organization already.
RBI base hit off of Jake Westbrook last night, literally and figuratively. He nailed him. And that's a base hit into right. Picks up an RBI here. Reyes has come in and allowed a couple of base hits. 13-4.
Remember our text poll?
That's your guy, right?
Our fans took both of us to heart. You had Perez, I had Wallace.
Jason Bourgeois. Double RBI and a run scored in the second. As walked in and scored as well. That was in the 6th. The 5-run second inning. 1 run in the 3rd. 4 in the 6th and 3 here in the 7th. It's added up to a 9-run lead. Still nobody out. .97 pitches tonight for Bud Norris. 61 of those were strikes. Nice play by Brendan Ryan to his left. Boy, that's a good play.
Very soft hands, made it look nice.
He's playing more with that confidence again.
No doubt about it. You know, offensive has made a difference with his defense. Seen spectacular defense from him. We thought he was the best defensive shortstop in the National League last year when he hit 292, but got off to the rough offensive start and it carried over for his defense. But since the All-Star break, settling in.
Guys in your era were chewing tobacco. Now it's sunflower seeds.
Yeah, there were sunflower seeds too.
Not as much, though,
Not
right?
as much. Not as much. There was more. You didn't see them on the field. A few guys would be spitting them out. But there was a lot more of the tobacco, and what a nasty habit. Kids don't get started on that.
Matt Holliday goes through a couple of bags of seeds out there in left field. Saw Brendan Ryan. He carries a bag in his back pocket. Just to keep you busy.
Get a little salt.
1-1 pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned that Buck Showalter picked up his first win with Baltimore. That might be the toughest job in the big leagues, managing the Orioles. 32-73. 32-73.
Very proud franchise that is in its troubles. 17 hits.
Last couple of nights, bullpen has been roughed up.
There haven't been a lot of quiet hits, have they? They've been stinging the ball. 14 runs and 17 hits.
Hunter Pence with 2 outs and a runner at first. It's a 4-run 7th inning. Miles has a forced play at second. just got him by a step. Time to stretch, thankfully. 14-4. Dennis Svitek qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. You can still register. All you have to do is visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. 10-run lead out for Houston.
Tim Burdack here for the 40th time. His last outing was on Saturday when he allowed a hit, a couple walks in 1/3 of a scoreless inning. And Reyes is going to hit for himself.
I think Denny's is going to bunt his way on.
No. He's going to hit a home run.
I believe he has hit one time this year.
I think so. We could look it up.
Why bother, Al?
I was thinking the same thing.
14th year, and he's 073 hitter.
He is 0 for 1 this year.
2-0 pitch. I think we would have remembered that base hit fondly.
A starting pitcher at one time.
Is that Ernie Hayes on the Oregon tonight? I didn't see Ernie.
I'll go check if you'd like to.
Wayne Hilton on the ivory.
I can tell he has a softer touch.
Any home runs in your career, Al? You had to triple.
Minor leagues.
Minor leagues. Okay, but none in the majors.
None
you had a triple at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Denny's puts it in play.
Hit 300 a couple years.
First out. How many at bats?
14. I get about 14 at bats a year.
And being a guy that was a reliever, maybe you should explain it to our younger viewers. You know, we see the specialty guys come in, and that's why a guy like Reyes hardly ever, if ever, hits for himself. So you would go 2 or 3 innings, and your spot would come up.
And it, you know, one year I hit 308. And I got 4 hits, and I didn't have any hits going into September.
The pressure was on.
Played, you know, threw 3 innings in that 25-inning game. The next day I threw 3 innings and got 2 hits off of Doug McGraw.
Left us too soon, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Tiger was a fun guy, you know, and
you know, Al, they call this the dog days of summer.
I hate to tell you, but we haven't got there yet.
Sure feels like it.
Yes, it does, Dan.
One out and no balls and a strike here on Brendan Ryan. Pops it up. Out of room goes Pedro Feliz. I'm sure Tom Mee is going to instruct our great crew to find some of the most unique fans here at the ballpark tonight. Take a look at them.
There's got to be some hats, or there got to be something a little different.
That's a base hit into right.
Brendan Ryan's first hit, 1 for 3.
So you don't think Miles goes to the mound tonight? Not at all.
Unfortunately.
And you'd like to see it for the entertainment value?
Yes, I would. Be his 4th appearance.
Talking about that earlier, the Where Are They Now issue of Sports Illustrated, and Stan the Man on the cover.
You and I have both seen that picture
numerous
times of Stan the Man, and if you like a piece of the legend, call Stan the Man Inc.
You know my favorite picture.
965-3000 JFK.
Picture of he and JFK. Remarkable picture, and some of the political figures that are in the background. And
that was an all-star game in
Washington.
And obviously, and you know how that has become a very popular. You and I both possess it, and a fan sent that to Dick Zitzman to have Stan sign that photograph, and you know, they liked it so much they contacted the gentleman and said, you know, hey, we'd like to either purchase the negative, or we want to start using it. And that's now Stan the Man shares that with so many of his fans.
Give that number again.
965-3000. And you know how Stan has been so generous to us with our charitable work and always providing donations for us, so we're more than happy to help the greatest Cardinal.
A ball and a strike with 2 outs and a runner at first. Colby's had a good night with a home run. Got things started in the first inning with a solo shot to make it 1-0. Single, scored a run in the 4th. Cardinals have had a very good record of scoring first and winning those games, but not the last couple of nights.
Still, that record when scoring first is 42-11.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Colby Rasmus. $19.41. Stan the Man's rookie season, he made a total of $2,400. $2,400. $400 a month, $2,400 total.
My first year in the big leagues, the minimum salary was $12,000.
And then you met Ted Turner.
It's $12,000. It just gone up from $10,500. It was in the mid 60s. You know, the minimum salary was like $6,500.
But you hung around long enough, and things started to change a little bit.
I saw both sides. I saw pre-free agency, and I saw a little bit of free agency. I don't begrudge any of the players or what they make. I just have 2 conditions: try to earn it and stay fan friendly.
7 innings in the books here at Busch Stadium. 14-4. And Bud Norris, 6 innings, 7 hits. Rally caps are out. So are cowboy hats. You ever meet Imus?
No.
With all the people that you've talked about and met, I figure Imus would be on that list.
No. Not had the pleasure.
Carlos Lee will lead it off. You ever had a meaningful conversation with Big Dog? He works in our booth.
Sounds like I'm up in the front seat on the plane and airplane. Leslie Nielsen.
You know, Al, have you ever?
Don't go there, Dan. Don't go. The answer's no.
We're told that it's his booth, not ours.
Well, tell him it's not.
I just was looking at Big Dog, and he seemed to be very much into this game and so focused, and his concentration level was at an all-time high, and it just made me think, have you ever had a meaningful conversation with him? with all your years.
Well,
You're closing in on 30 years, by the way, behind the mic.
I gave him a gift one time, and it was probably the most meaningful.
It came from the saloon, didn't it? Al Raboski's Ballpark Saloon.
Jason Michaels is pinch hitting here. As I change the subject.
We had a meaningful conversation with Garcia.
No, that is no.
There's a 1-0 pitch.
Hi.
14-4 Houston.
Come to think of it, have we ever had a meaningful conversation? You and I.
Oh, I'm hurt now, Al. Some of the talks that we have after games.
Well, those are precious.
When we have our production meetings. I think those two have ever had a meaningful talk.
Yes.
It's in the dirt. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's another benefit, even for Carpenter, Wainwright, guys like that. Westbrook, and he's going to learn from them, and they're going to, and he probably will impart some knowledge to them that'll help them down the road.
41,958 tonight. That's driven into center. Over to get it. Is it a trap? Yes, it is. No catch for Colby. Ball just sunk on him. And the first 2 have reached here in the 8th.
Dougal warming up. Reyes only thrown 23 pitches, but taking his lumps.
On the top of the 8th, Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati 7-4.
You see the ball clearly trapped by Colby. 18 hits for Houston.
Team that has surprised me, I don't know about you, but in the National League West, Colorado, they have won 4 straight, but tonight they're being shut out 7-0. That's in the top of the 7th, and they're only 5 games above 500. That team just seems to me, on paper, to be better than that.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that they would just, stay close and then strike and really go on to a hot streak, and it really hasn't happened. Thought they would make a move by now.
Here's Pedro Feliz, 2 for 4 tonight. And he's been on base 3 times. Reyes needs a double play. How about a triple play? Or how about a pitching change?
And the pitching change is Tony now as McDougal is ready, and he'll be coming in. He was victimized by the poor defense last night, McDougal.
Right-hander coming in, 14-4, Houston. McDougal. So far, so good. And as you mentioned last night, Al, and rightfully so, defense let him down just a bit.
He got the loss in that game. He 1 inning of work, 2 hits. He allowed run, also walked a man. But so he's 1-1. His Cardinal debut was a win in New York. Former American League All-Star, Kansas City Royals closer. But if Carlos Lee, they're pitching him away. Schumacher was holding Bourne on at second base, and I don't know. I mean, Bourne has that great speed. They weren't going to throw him out, even holding him at second. And McDougal induced Carlos Lee to hit a ball right at the second base, the vacated second base area, and that was key. And then a misplay out and right.
So nobody out, and the first pitch is taken for a ball by Feliz. First and second as we play here in the top of the 8th, 14-4.
A couple hits for Pedro tonight and RBI.
Give fans credit with a 10-run lead for Houston for sticking around. A hot night here at Busch Stadium. There's a line drive base hit into center. Colby has to dive for it to make sure it didn't get past him. And a runner advances from first to third, and also Lee scores to make it 15-4. RBI for Feliz, number 29.
19 hits, 15 runs for the Astros, and still nobody out. So fastball right in the middle of the plate, just rifles it. Lee, you see him, he was going to stop, but when Colby tried to cut it off, the ball scooted away from him. And that's when restarted. It's Jeff Blum. Too many inside pitches?
Not tonight. Game that started with such promise with a solo home run by Colby Rasmus in the first. He had Garcia on the mound.
He had a great first inning, 1-2-3 with a pair of strikeouts. And then they got 5 runs in the second on 5 hits. 4 of the runs were unearned, but Garcia couldn't stop the bleeding after an error.
And a 1-0 pitch with runners at the corners. That's hit hard out to right. And drops in for the hit. Goodness.
We were talking about the 26 hits that Chicago pitching gave up yesterday, and now that's 20 against the Redbirds.
16-4. Jeff Bagwell, I'm sure, is all smiles in that dugout.
I was trying to say, what happened? Told me yesterday, Jeff Bagwell, who's been about less than 10 days been the hitting coach. There is future Hall of Famer, and he goes, I don't know what I'm doing. The coaches are helping me out. He's trying to figure out these hitters. And right now he's in love with them.
Last game allowing 20+ hits, June 13th against the Phillies, 2008.
It's a little different lineup of established hitters. And not to take anything away from the young Astros, but they're swinging the bats well tonight. And once again, very few pitches inside like that. And Phillies won that ball game 20-2. Wonder if Miles got to pitch in that one.
Cincinnati trying to come back in their ball game, 7-4, top of the 8th.
Good hustle by Holiday, but goes into the stands. I like to see it when it's a lopsided game like that, 16-4, and Holiday not mailing in at all. He was hustling all the way.
2-1. 6th and the 7th for Castro. Had singles and runs scored. Runners at the corners, and a 2-1 pitch from Mike McDougal. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that's pulled foul. Two and two.
We'll say, Dan, when you get into a game like this, it just seems like whatever pitcher's out there is going to take his lumps. But on the same token, you know, these guys are up there running to get to the bat rack, go up to home plate because nobody has been, you know, brushed back or at least, you know, put any fear in a hitter. They're just going up there and hacking.
The people with cell phones behind home plate still bother you?
Doesn't bother me.
For the longest time, I thought it bothered you.
No, it was Joe.
Oh, okay. They would wave, and I always thought you were frustrated by that. But you are Mr. Fan Friendly.
Fan friendly. It's kind of funny that they want to act goofy.
Doesn't really bother me. Would it bother you if you were pitching?
No, because you know.
But some guys are going crazy back there. My personal favorite are the umpires in Toronto.
Right. I mean, but seriously, as a pitcher, if you're seeing that, you're not going to be on that mound very long. No concentration. Bases are loaded.
Now you know I'm talking about Toronto, right?
Yes, yeah. Those two fake umpires that dress up like the umpires and call a game with them. Now they're pretty good, but to be serious, if you're out there and you're paying attention to somebody sitting in the first row, or you're you're concentrating on the wrong thing. And if you do it long enough, you'll be sitting with them.
Bases loaded, nobody out. And that's ball one. Tim Burdack. We are crossing that gentleman out.
He doesn't count.
1-0 pitch. I gotta answer my phone. Hold on now. One ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals still have Pujols in this game. And he will hit one more time, looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th. The 1-2 pitch. Got him. Here's Bourgeois. He's had a big night. Leadoff man for Houston. And he's appearing for the 5th time at bat. Cincinnati has scored 2. They've cut that lead to 7-6. Top of the 8th, 2 outs, and Brandon Phillips at second base. We've seen the Reds have made a habit of coming back an awful lot this year.
Sure have, man. Magical moments like that usually put you into postseason.
1-0 pitch by McDougal. 96 on the gun here at the stadium. 2 balls, no strikes.
Sanchez on decks had the big night. 4 hits, 5 RBIs. Lacks the home run for the cycle.
Taken low, 3-0. Oh, watch out. Walk by McDougal. No activity right now in the Cardinal bullpen. Angel Sanchez, as Al told you, a huge night this evening. Lacks the home run for the cycle. Last cycle was Luke Scott against the Diamondbacks in 2006 for Houston.
He'll be doing it in dramatic fashion if he picks it up now. Breaking ball and his knees buckled. Cairo has a chance to be the hero in Pittsburgh. He's at the plate with 2 outs, 2 runners on.
0-2 pitch. Houston with a 17-4 lead.
At the last couple nights, what Houston's done late, breaking games open.
11 runs alone here in the last 3 innings. Got him.
Just throws him on a fastball. Hunter Pence, the 9th man to bat this inning.
Good pitch.
Good slider there.
That's a thing that they've seen with McDougal. They're trying to get him back to those days with the effective slider and a fastball that is low in the zone. He's gotten in trouble with pitches up.
There's, you know, I mean, and I don't mind a few that every now and then take off a little bit inside or high, as long as you get enough of them down. There's Friesen. You see right there is Frozen on another slider. Bill throws hard enough, and you know, we have seen him fit my description of effectively wild.
Another slider, good block.
Yep, good block by LaRue. Tried to overthrow that one, but you know, he's ahead in the count 0-2. Make sure he wasn't going to hang it.
Game like this, 17-4. McDougal still trying to make an impression here on Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa.
No doubt about it. And that's the attitude you got to take. You know, I mean, every time you're on that mound, you're auditioning for somebody.
Base hit. Found a slider.
there. Not a bad piece of hitting. Yeah, it's just didn't get quite far enough, but Hunter Pence, one of those kind of bad ball hitters, you got to make it a little bit worse than that, and he picks up an RBI, and they batted around. Carlos Lee walked and scored to lead off this 8th inning.
2 outs, bases loaded. Lee chops it to short. Brendan Ryan to first. 4 runs in the top of the 8th. It's 18-4 Houston. Fastest mobile broadband network, AT&T. Rethink possible. Fulchino takes over, the right-hander for Houston.
Fulchino, who is activated, 15 DL following Sunday's game. He'll be facing Albert.
And a 1-0 pitch to Pujols. Popped up. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Oh, watch out. Fulchino is thankful that missed him. Leadoff hit for Pujols.
Fulchino almost back on the disabled list. He would have survived this one as he just, the big man got down underneath it.
Michaels is in center field. Fulchino, your pitcher. Bourgeois at second, and Blum over at third. Pitch to Holiday.
Chino was claimed off of waivers from Kansas City. He's 6'5", 286 pounds. Had elbow tendonitis that put him on the disabled list. Their rookie of the year last year for the Astros.
Right down the middle. Good play here.
Running on the play, and Bourgeois, who moved from center to second base, makes a nice play. You see where he is. Science going to go on through, but Bourgeois with that good speed get over there and cut it off.
Alan Craig with one out and a runner at second base. 21 hits tonight for Houston.
Scored 12 runs in the last 3 frames, 3 consecutive 4-run innings. Second inning, they scored 5 and had a single run in the third.
.30 to Alan Craig. And a walk.
Craig, a couple hits and now a walk, on base 3 times tonight. His return to the big leagues.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Schumacher.
McDougal go back out for another inning of work.
Nobody getting loose in the bullpen. Or will we see a position player maybe do that?
Miles, I think, has pitched 3 other times. He's done a really good job, and fans that have stuck around would get a bigger kick out of watching a position player pitch the ninth and have McDougal or anyone else go back out. Schumacher didn't like the call. Jason LaRue give him a chance to hit here.
Randy Wynn has moved to the on-deck circle. That would be McDougal's spot.
With nobody warming up. And I know Tony is never tries to be disrespectful for the game, but a game like this, bring on Miles.
You're ready. Slicing and foul.
They moved to the ninth at Pittsburgh. 7-6. Scott Rowland up to lead off the ninth.
Here's a 1-2. Ninth inning coming up, 18-4. Houston with the lead.
Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton are waiting in the wings. The Cardinals get to Bud Norris, but it's not nearly enough. Options at third base now that David Freese has gone down, and we'll have player reaction straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. All that and more coming up after the game, and Al Raboski gets his wish. Aaron Miles will do the pitching as we go back to the booth, and Dan and Al, guys.
All right, thanks, Jim. Miles moves from third to the mound. And Alan Craig will go to third base. Aaron Miles, in his career, 2 games, has allowed a home run, ERA of 6 in his 3 innings of work.
And we also get our wish. We get our first look at Alan Craig at third base.
Now, earlier,
way earlier, you were talking about trying to ease Craig in.
Well, this is easing him in. It's 18-4.
Be on your toes, Alan.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I got Milesy on the mound.
This is your guy.
This is my guy.
Look at that look. He is stern, very serious.
Believe it.
This is Jason Michaels. The pressure is all on the hitter right now.
Oh, absolutely. And they can keep a straight face. Miles is determined. He wants to lower his ERA. As predicted, the fans that remain are having a little fun with this. And that's all you get. I mean, these kind of games, they happen hopefully just once a year. There's your out.
Shallow right field. Wynn puts it away. And Aaron Miles doing this against a team that he once played for. He's in their organization.
Well, that's why they're scared of him.
No question. You would think that with all the video, they'd have a book. And guys are racing to that video room to get a read on Miles.
Bagwell, you didn't give us a scout report on this guy. He's getting squeezed by the umpire, too.
2-0 pitch.
There's another out.
Feliz pops it into shallow left. And now, you being a former pitcher should really break down this motion and his pace. Very good pace so far for the first 2 outs.
Well, and it all starts with his Rawlings glove. So he's got the right equipment to be successful. You know, and you know, just think about it. You know, every time you see him, it's usually he's a 9th inning man. Another closer.
Base hit.
That wasn't fair.
So a 2-out base hit for Jeff Plum.
Well, see, his forte is getting right-handed hitters out. Lefties, you know, he gets the ball down a little bit. It's the final. Pirates do hold on and defeat Cincinnati. So good pitch.
Popped him up. 10 pitches, 3 outs, Spare and Miles.
He could come back if they tie it up.
Good pitcher in. Gustavo Shashin. Miles goes an inning and does not give up a run. He allows the base hit. And let's turn now to our Budweiser player of the game, Angel Sanchez. 4 for 6, triple-double, couple of singles, 6 RBIs, and a run scored. That's presented by Budweiser. Budweiser player of the game, Angel Sanchez. Randy Wynn will be the hitter.
Now, part of the double switch. No, there is no double switch. Miles stays in this game, so when the Cardinals tie it up, he can go back out there. Randy Wynn.
Strike 1 to Randy Wynn.
Sheen is from Maracaibo, Venezuela.
Wynn hits it out to right. Pence going back. Spins around. Makes the catch.
Sheen's first 11 years were in the Toronto organization. Houston becomes his third organization. In his last 2 years, he joining Washington last year and Philadelphia also. Former 13-game winner for Toronto in 05 when he was 5th in the voting for the American League Rookie of the Year.
Couple of strikeouts and a single for Brendan Ryan tonight. Made a nifty play on a double play. Oh, 1 pitch. And that's a base hit.
A multi-hit game for Brendan Ryan. His average over 220.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And you're missing the standing ovation for Aaron Miles.
I was watching our shot of Aaron. Wonder if he had any disputes with our home plate umpire in the strike zone.
Like they got along fine.
No issues. 1 out and a runner at first. 18-4 Houston. Miles chops it to the left side. Out at second. And safe at first as he's still hustling.
Oh, Bourgeois couldn't complete the double play. And trailing by 14, Aaron Miles wasn't going to take a chance and possibly get thrown out at second base and end the game. Where are you going, Dan?
So here is Colby Rasmus. Rasmus with a home run, a single. Flied out to left and also struck out in the 7th. 2 outs and a runner at first. They'll play behind Miles. First pitch swung on and missed.
Pujols on deck.
Quickly, 2 strikes.
Michael's playing very deep in center field. A lot of base hits in front of the outfielders. 8 base runners.
Still trying to get one more shot of Albert Pujols. His phone's behind home plate. Albert on deck. Fans want to see him hit one more time. 0-2 on Colby. Here it comes.
Cardinals have gotten to double figures in hits.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Two. Colby, a little floater into center.
A lot of hits in front of that center fielder.
And the folks will see Pujols hit one more time. That's why you stick around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stick around and need a lot of base runners. As Mike Chan will say, home run right now is a rally killer.
Pujols is 2 for 4, average at .302.
Couple touchdowns and a safety. We're right in there. Assuming we're getting the extra points too.
Since 1970, the most runs the Cardinals have scored in an inning, 11. They've done that 6 different times.
Well, records are to be broken.
1-0 pitch to Pujols. 2 balls and no strikes. Popped up left side, a changeup. It's playable, and this ball game is over. Sanchez, what a night he had. 22 hits for Houston. They win it 18-4.